Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science or Technology. In today's show, Science Thursday, we're going to talk about organic farming. So let's dive right into it. Now, first we have to understand what exactly is the problem that we have to go to organic farming. Well, current method of farming is flat out not sustainable, meaning every soil that we are farming right now is becoming toxic over long periods of time, meaning right now, awesome. 10 years from now, we no longer can grow crops on that. So basically we are killing the soil. So it's flat out not sustainable in long term. And it's very expensive while adding toxicity, meaning not only you're destroying the soil, it's also becoming expensive, meaning food has to have an upper limit in cost. You cannot make food YOLO expensive. So what does that mean? That simply means generally farmers have to compromise on their profit margins. They have to sell it at a certain X variable and the amount of percentage that they are saving. If soil is healthy, they are making this much profit. If it's not healthy, they have to put so much pesticides, so this, that, and all that, then their profit margin goes down. So that puts extensive pressure under farmers, and India is suffering very brutally from this. Also, Sri Lanka also. So it's one of those things that is brutal, and all across the world, it's something that is slowly becoming apparent that we flat out cannot sustain this puppy, and we must become more efficient. Now, efficiency is a very critical aspect of it because we have a limited surface area on this earth. Only very small surface area is farmable. That is already have the infrastructure on top of it, meaning you have people, you have farm equipments, all that. So we have to become more optimum with it, more optimized, more efficient with it. Without it, we will simply starve. So this is the problem. So what's the solution? Solution is we have to change our mindset. Our mindset so far is yield. Basically 100 ton, how about we make it 200 tons? That's good and all that, and that's how we got green revolution and all that jazz, but that's not sustainable. What we have to focus on, the first core variable that we have to focus on is health. Health of everything that is connected to the supply chain, meaning soil health. That is the first factor. Food health, meaning the food that you're getting. There are some studies that are showing some drastically horrifying results, and those results are that if the soil is not healthy, plants are growing, and from on top inspection, you will say, it looks healthy, and you will eat it. Here's the deal. Your body still would be starving. It's like, how the heck that is possible? Simply because nutritional content is not good enough. Meaning generally nutrition content has this much range. So generally they will not trigger alert if you go below it. But think of it this way. That's supposed to be like majority of crop is around here. Some crops are here, but not like every crop is now here. That creates a scenario where even if you are eating healthy, you are not healthy. So that's a very serious aspect. We have to study that also. Soil must be healthy for that, and food must become healthy as a consequence. And then we also develop the ecosystem. That is the easiest way to guarantee everything can be balanced. Health must become the focus, not the yield. Not like 200 tons of potato to 500 tons of potato, not that. Healthy potatoes, healthy soil, healthy ecosystem. I'll explain more about that. And how do we achieve that? What is the tools for achieving that? Natural organic tools as much as possible, because there are some tools that you can't replace, but as far as possible, you have to utilize organic methods, organic pipelines as far as possible. And cycling as much as possible. Cycling is one of those things we kind of forget because we are focusing on yield and profitability. We kind of focus on if cotton is like the best thing, we just keep yellowing cotton. But here's the deal, that ends destroying the soil. That ends up destroying the soil. So we have to cycle it, and that's one of the first thing why our farmlands are so vulnerable to everything, because they are monoculture. The moment you start mixing things, that creates a scenario where it's almost resilient, like how a natural forest is resilient. Think of it this way, like nobody's trimming forest, nobody is maintaining forest. How the heck forest can somehow survive everything that destroys our farmland? It survives thermal cycling, it survives basically heat wave, it survives flooding, it survives infestation, survives forest fire. Somehow it's surviving all that, while our farmland, which is so carefully curated, it's like one pesticide, poof, one pest, poof, gone. It's like, why the heck these things are glass? Because it's not cycling. The moment we start cycling, it takes care of majority of our issues. And then the core aspect that we are thinking about should be long-term sustainability, meaning it should not be like, oh, we are farming and 10 years from now, good luck with the soil, because again it will be dead. That's not acceptable anymore. We have lived long enough, and we have lifespan that is ludicrously long right now, and we have video evidence how it used to be, how it is, and how it will be. So we have learned it the hard way that we have to make it sustainable if we do not want to end up like Egypt, where we are salting the land. So it is very critical that we employ these solutions. So what are the process of achieving this? Step 1, low to no chemical fertilizer and pesticide. I'll explain why it is not no, low to no. I'll explain that. Chemical fertilizer, because again, while chemical fertilizers are thoroughly vetted and analyzed, we are realizing that they have a very high probability of turning the salt. meaning it's not that good, so to say. Pesticide also, they are flat out toxins, so that's also not something that we really want. So that's the first thing. That's the first thing. I mean, anytime you are talking to a farmer, you're saying organic farming, 99% of the time they are talking about this step. That's just step one. Step two, crop rotation. This is one thing we have learned the hard way, that more crop rotation you do, the healthier your soil becomes, healthier output you get. So crop rotation is critical, meaning you cannot just farm one thing again. You cannot. I mean, you can be stupid enough and do it, and it will work for a few years, but after that, good luck to you. So that's. Now another controversial side of things is that no GMO. Now why is that? That's something that I truly don't understand to full extent, simply because even the people who made GMO seeds, they don't understand. It's like evolution, DNA, these are so complex things that we are brute forcing. We are basically how we are making wolf into breeds of dogs. We know how we are making them, but we are not precise enough, we are not absolute enough where it's like, no, there is no consequences. We do not know, because A, they are not old enough. They're not old enough where it's like, 8th generation of this crop means, entirety of your population ends up with Alzheimer's disease. We don't know that. That's why taking a safer approach is becoming more preferable. No GMOs. GMO simply means genetically modified organism. So we are taking a brute stance there where it's let's not take any risk. So that's one thing. And organic fertilizers and pesticide will replace the chemical alternative. And organic fertilizers are generally one of those things that nature knows how to digest it. So nature won't become salted or corrupted because of it. Corrupted as in unbalanced too much, where it's only one type of crop can grow in it because other things are depleted beyond repair. So this is the process that how a farmer will achieve that stamp. Now we go into some dark territory of this. There are no rules. That's the biggest problem with this. Meaning, there is no rule book that you can follow worldwide. There is no fixed definition. There is no fixed rule. What does that mean? That simply means in different state, in different country, there are different logos, different stamps. Each of the stamps have different criteria, and that creates a scenario where organic could mean different things in different places. Meaning, people who are smart enough, who are wise enough, they know for a fact that you cannot go from a chemical farming to organic farming overnight. It will end up your crops. It will destroy it. So what you have to do is go from, let's say, 70-30 mix. Then you have to go to 60-40 mix. You have to slowly phase it out. Then only your soil can recover truly. If you don't do that, good luck. That's why people, you talk about organic farming reduces yield. That's why it's reducing yield. It's not supposed to be shock therapy. It's supposed to be gently. You're supposed to gently, phase it out, not tada. And many people who do tada and they're dude, crop yields are low. That's why it's low. It's supposed to be higher, but it's lower simply because you gave it a shock. Now, over time, it recovers, but that is an issue that you have to understand. Now, that creates a problem for a legislator. They created a scenario where some places you have to be 100% organic in order to claim that organic stamp. In some places, you have to claim only 80%. Now, you get that issue. It's literally in one state, you're this is organic potato that has chemicals. This is organic potato that does not have chemical. Now, that creates an issue. You and I are not gonna scan everything with a freaking multiple spectroscopy to understand what exactly is the content of it. We have to trust the stamps, but stamps does not mean anything if there are that many stamps of it. That's from European Union, Japan, basically China, USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, India, Malaysia. All of them are different. This stamp literally means nothing because there are multiple variables. And scientific research, let's get to hard science of it. It's way too mixed. Meaning people will try to sell you organic means awesome. Reality is the analysis we did, the study we did over years, it's very inconclusive. And that's kind of almost people are trying to bury that fact, but it's realistic because you have to understand it. The reason we went away from organic farming in the first place is simply because yields were not high enough. And our population in early 90s were booming. Right now it's decreasing, but that time it was booming. So we had to do it and we did it. We successfully did it. Yields were dramatically higher. That's what happened in Indian Green Revolution. We went from barely having any food where we had to import. India had to import food to we got this, fam. We got this. Again, we still import, but some things we import. We're basically importing food is right now is luxurious things or some fancy coffee and all that jazz, but not we have to import or we'll starve to death. So that has been a real world experience. So scientific data is very mixed. So if I have to combine all the 5-6 papers that I've gone through, reality is again, assuming none of them are absolutely biased, or which many of the results have been flat out discarded because they were way too biased. People are they wanted to show organic to be good, so they were messing up the known absolute facts. So reality was it's more or less the same, because you have to understand, if you're putting organic manure, you're hey, we are not producing more carbon dioxide because of factories. Here's the manure produces far more methane. You're literally back to the square one. And this is true all out the everything throughout the supply chain is true, that more or less you are putting end up exactly the same situation, little bit less. Now in terms of financial, it does make sense. In terms of finance, it's like long-term solution, that's awesome. But in terms of carbon footprint, not really that helpful. In terms of nutritional value, not that helpful, because you have to understand, pesticide that is made through natural means is still goddamn pesticide, meaning if a snake bites you, you still go up. You cannot say it like 100% organic venom, I do not die. That's not happens. It's like a venom is still a venom. A toxin is still a toxin, even if it's made through natural electrolytes. Some natural electrolytes are ludicrously brutal. So you have to understand that, like when your people are like, pesticiding and using natural pesticide, many times they have the side effect of like, just blasting it, because there are rules, regulations, and consequence, you may end up with more toxin in your food, even though it's organic. 100% organic. So that's the brutal reality of it. There is no rule, there is no regulation, there is no one unified definition. Right now, the best thing I can say, when somebody is saying organic, and if they're not cheating, generally it means above 80% organics was used. That's the best thing. No GMO. That's one thing that almost all stamps agree. Then again, only some. There are still some that is like, GMO is okay. So that's the problem with this. Now, it creates a very dangerous situation for the future. I have made 3 detailed video about no-till farming and cover crops and healthy soil. And this creates a scenario where people are thinking this as a one-step solution, where it's like, it's just one step people take and they're like, I'm done, I'm good. This is like, final step. It's not final step, it's step 1. If you really want to have a farming infrastructure that can be farmed for generations, switching from chemical to organic only delays that process. It does not give you a healthy soil. This is one thing. We have to grow healthy soil. And if you're like, wait a minute, how can we grow healthy soil? Step 1 is basically do no tilling, because every time we till the soil, we sterilize the soil. We destroy a microfungal network that is there to transport nutrition, transport data, communication. And yes, plants communicate with each other. That's how forest can defend itself against pesticides. I'm saying that against pest. That's how it talks. Like one tree will get affected, other trees will be like, okay, there is pest here. This is the tool that is we are deploying. It's not working. Create a different tool. That's why they do not have a scenario as like, one pest can take over the whole forest. It never happens, because nature knows how to communicate. If you have diversity, there will have different tool set. Each one of the tool set will work, and that creates a stable ecosystem where it's like pests could cause that damage, but they will never destroy your whole crop. So microfungal network requires you not to sterilize the land with soil. Cover crop is the best way to making sure you're adding nitrogen, you're adding root infrastructure. Now you're like, wait a minute, I'm gonna crimp all of them from top. What's the use of root? Roots are like highway, and next generation of crops only needs to grow a little bit. And then it goes like, okay, I have the highway and it grows in that root. Benefit, the plant is not burning energy trying to penetrate the soil. It saves a lot of effort, energy, improves yield. Now, this is one thing that does not happen in day 1. It's like year 1, barely any benefit. Year 2, you can notice it. Year 2, farmers starts to notice like, I'm spending a little bit less. Year 3, good. Year 5, really good. Year 15, I'm done. No longer farming is easy now. That has happened because soil started to grow, meaning you went from humus that is like, topsoil of this much to starting to go almost like inches to feet. You start to go to feet. The moment you start to achieve 2 feet carbon content, yeah, you're done. Meaning you can farm for, well, ages without any issue. And every year you are adding more. So soil becomes healthier, robust. It can withstand flash flooding. It can withstand heat wave. It can withstand anything. So we are not doing that because everybody's like, organic farming, I'm getting organic stamp. All they are doing is just like replacing chemical fertilizer with manures, which is adding more carbon methane into the atmosphere. So you have to understand this is very critical short-sightedness in our mind. That's the danger of it. Meaning rather than going to all in, where we're like, hey, we're gonna use no-till, we're gonna use cover crops, we're gonna make sure we follow the principle of nature to create healthy soil. We are just like, one band-aid solution. This is band-aid solution. That's the scary part of it. And many people are focusing on branding rather than the principle of healthy soil. If you have healthy soil, soil will take care of itself. It's not healthy soil, you're dead. So this is one very dangerous aspect. That's why I kind of scared about it. The more I research, the more the scientific papers I look at, yeah, that's why it makes sense. And the reason, the good things like no-till farming, mixed cover crops circulation, those are not taking place because they do not have any stamps attached to it. More people are focusing, just to replace the fertilizer with manure. Does not do that much. You are just replacing one problem with another. Of course, this is much better problem, much long-term, but still a problem. So why the heck you want to do something that delays your inevitable destruction from 5 years to 10 years when you can have a scenario it's like, hey, no destruction. The longer I do, the healthier the soil gets, the more I can do. So that's why, that's the danger aspect of it. And because there is no tight rule and regulation, no agreed upon definition, it's really dangerous. Now, some people are still doing proper organic farming with proper no-till farming, cover crops and all that. They are doing awesome work, but some are not. And they are all getting same stamp. So that is very iffy. So there are some serious dangers involved with this, like, hype of organic farming. And ask Sri Lanka. So this was my presentation on organic farming. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.